Circulation across the nation, masturbation, deep penetration.
Constipation.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I don't know why I say that. This isn't live, but we are.
We're live.
Oh, we're live, baby.
We're live.
In your
When
living
they see
room.
this, we're not live, but we're currently
Or
live.
car, if you're listening to it on Spotify.
Yeah, listen to it in the car. Don't watch it in the car.
Yeah. Please don't watch it in the
Please
car.
don't watch it in the car.
Welcome to Relaxed Retro Talk. It has been a while, guys, but we are back. And today we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to be talking about growing up with the N64 and the Saturn, a two-for-one deal tonight.
It's a twofer.
And we're also going to be talking about our upcoming charity stream in support of Crohn's and Colitis Canada, Spectrefest, in memory of our good friend and brother, Jason. So,
absolutely.
We do this every October.
It's the third year in a row.
Yeah. We play a lot of great games, a lot of bad games, and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's one of those things. So it's funny. A lot of people that I talk to are like, oh, you must feel really good about like raising money for a charity and doing this thing, and I'm like, well, yes and no. Like, there's a bittersweet for me because like it's just also like a constant reminder of my older brother's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So there's that portion of it. I don't mean to make that sound like a downer. Right?
No, that's how it is.
It is a good thing, but that is the truth, right? So it's funny because Duke always around. I don't know, man. Like what? July? You're usually like around July.
August,
You're like, hey,
we should start doing things.
Start planning things for Spectrefest, and I'm like, I really don't want to start thinking about that right now. But yes, we'll plan it. And then it's always the same story. September comes, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so much stuff to do.
It is the same every time, but we always get it done. I feel like this year we're doing a lot better than last year.
We're significantly ahead of the curve.
Yeah, last year it was like we started doing everything. I feel like the end of September or start of October. Whereas,
we were rushing too, and I kept making mistakes. I kept I was trying to make like a shortened URL, and I screwed it up, and then I didn't get the right page, and then the next thing you know,
and then they kept sending us like the wrong website link or something like that too, which sucked.
And for a good week and a half, we were advertising that website, and people were like, "Oh, can I donate now?" We're like, "Yep," and they're like, "It doesn't work," and
we're like,
that's not the live site. That's the testing site.
Yeah, right. That's what it was.
Yeah. So, and I mean, it's nobody's fault. It's just because we were time pressed. Everything felt.
We waited till last minute.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this year I'm better. Next year I'll probably be even better. A little bit more.
It'll be the same. It'll be the same as this year.
Probably,
I think this year, honestly, like you don't want to start way too soon because then you're like almost like burnt out on it, and you're like, it's coming. 3 months, boys.
3 months from now, 90 some days.
Yeah. But as of this recording, we're 28 days away. This is going to be going up Wednesday, so my math is bad. Probably 25 days when you guys listen or watch this.
Today's the 28th, Sunday 27, Monday 26, Tuesday 25, Wednesday will be 24 days.
24 days until Spectrefest. You can watch it on
October
both.
21st.
Yeah, you can watch it on both our streams, twitch.tv. I mean, you can see it. You can see it right here. Twitch.tv/Dookie03 and Twitch.tv/DGOnline. The whole thing's on both. I'm not going to fall asleep like I did the first year. I just shut it down. I was like, I'm going down, brother.
Yeah, we make the stream available on both channels for one basic purpose. A lot of people don't know how Twitch works that come to support the channel.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it just makes life easier that we both stream. So what we do is we set up the other person's stream on our channel. We always raid the channels over. But if
Yeah,
for
every
some
time we
reason,
switch out, yeah.
yeah, and then if for some reason you end up coming to one side or the other, and I think you do too, but we put a thing in chat that fires off every few minutes that's like, hey, just so you know, you're watching someone else's stream. If you want to interact with the stream, go here.
Right, we do that. So like if if it's my block and they're watching it on your channel, we have a thing that says, "Hey, if you want to interact, make sure you go to the
make sure
other
you go
one."
here."
Yeah.
So my chat will constantly be firing away, and I mean it is what it is, right? Like I mean, the thing that I love. So I wanted to mention this the most because I feel oftentimes it's let out. It doesn't really come out with our advertising the streams. We advertise the stream really. We do basic advertising because I don't really want to go all out and do anything too crazy. So we typically make a video for the year, something new.
Yeah.
We do a poster card. We get Crohn's and Colitis is awesome. Crohn's and Colitis Canada is awesome and shares their social media pages with us, and so they'll actually promote our stuff as well. But I think kind of like the underdogs of our channels is the community that gets behind us.
Oh yeah,
we have folks from our community, right? Like Crim, for example. Crim, Mo Cookies. I don't want to name people because there's so many, right? But like a lot of those folks were there the whole 24 hours.
Yeah, and Doom Dog was there during the shitlord hours of the night, the whole time.
That 2 a.m.
till
5 a.m.
10 or something. Yeah, the brutal.
Yeah,
and Crim was there
the thing
too.
Is, Crim was there the entire time.
Yeah,
I don't think he left at all. There's a lot of folks, right? Goodsy was there for a good amount. So many people, and I can't help but thank our communities enough because one, obviously, without our communities, this is already dead in the water.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
two, it is really, really hard to stream to nobody.
Yeah, it is.
And you guys always make sure that since someone's in chat that we're constantly able to do, especially like I know like the last few years I've been playing Valorant in the middle of the night with Boz and Bubs at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, and I feel like I'm just like nodding off. But I had like Mrs. Nerfy was in chat last year.
Oh, she did a lot for last year's too.
Yeah, but she was like, "Hey, I'm awake. Here's some trivia to keep your brain going." And I was like, brilliant. Thank you very much. So come out and support us. I do appreciate everybody that does come out. A huge thank you to everybody in our community. One, and also for putting up with us at every possible moment. We're like, don't forget, Spectrefest is coming.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're at just shy. Basically, if I was telling anybody, I would be saying that we've raised over 2 years so far $8,000 for Crohn's and Colitis Canada, which is just it blows me away, right? Because we've talked about this on previous discussions before. Our original thought was like, if we can make $200 on this, we're doing amazing.
Our donation goals, like, because we always put like
$50 increments.
Yeah, we always put like, okay, like once we hit these milestones, we're gonna do like certain special things, right?
Yeah.
And the first year, I think like it was like 200. By the time we hit 200, that was like all our goals had been met.
Yeah.
And it was like that was like within the first like 2 hours or something. It was insane, dude.
Yeah, it was nuts. I remember us having that conversation before. We're like, we're never gonna get 200. Like that's we gotta lower these a little bit. We're never gonna hit these, right? I remember that conversation, and now
like our donation goals this year are like in the, I think 3,000 is the highest.
That's the highest.
Yeah, 3,500 is my highest because I hate Dragon Ball Z sagas.
But I mean, that's the thing. So it's been a huge success. I can't think of a better way to honor Jason than a gaming marathon, right?
No doubt.
It culminates everything that he loved and enjoyed doing, and so Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've got that promotional video, the clip video that's coming out. I also every year I update. I've got a story, which maybe you can chuck it in the description of this. But I
Right.
kind of have like a here's why
The
we do it. Like
background,
here's
yeah.
the whole background, the reason why we do it, the story. And so I update that every year just to keep it current because a lot of times we get new people who are like, hey, we don't even know what this is. So
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
it's a
Yeah.
10-minute video, but it literally goes over the entire story. You get to see me sitting in front of the camera and Duke talking and sitting in front of the camera as well. And yeah, honestly, uh, I'm setting my sights on cracking that 10,000
Yeah,
this
I
year.
think we'll do it easy. I think the
Yeah.
thing is, like, that first year, like, you guys have to realize 2 years ago, our streams, my YouTube channel, the podcast, none of it was anywhere what it is today.
No,
It
no,
was
no.
like like my average viewers probably I would probably have like 5 to 6, like if
Mhm.
that on Twitch back then. And during the charity stream, I think we were sitting around 30 that first year the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Like it was insane
If I remember correctly, the metrics were on average 40 something.
on that first year
And
even.
our peak viewers was something like 89 or 90 people or something like that we had at one point, which is like it's insane.
Yeah, yeah,
It is absolutely insane, and it's not just like people click in and leave. People click in, they stick around,
yeah.
and
The
they interact,
support was phenomenal.
which is exactly that. And we have members from the Crohn's and Colitis Canada team come and they hang out and chat, and they answer questions, and it's just the support from not only even from our community but from their community too, because they share out. We had one individual last year and the year before too, but one individual last year that was like, hey, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease this year, and I just want to thank you guys for for putting a spotlight on this, and two for raising funds in an attempt to find a cure and to find treatments and to just research things.
Yeah,
And I never know what to say in those moments,
I
right? Because
know.
like
Yeah,
because we were impacted but by it because we knew somebody, but we weren't impacted directly. And so when you have someone in chat that's like, yeah, this literally affects my day-to-day life,
yeah. It
the
makes it that
best I
much
can,
more like
yeah,
powerful, meaningful. I don't know.
100%. I know I'm in that moment and I'm like 100%, like give me the sword and shield, I'll march with you, let's go, right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's phenomenal. So the support's been great, the community's been great, and I'm looking forward to our third year, right?
Same.
Like
I think this is gonna be the best one, man. I mean, every like
100%.
last year was the best one. This is
It's always the best one.
it's always the best one. The best part is like it's for such a good cause. It's helping people out. It's in memory of like one of our favorite people, and it's fun. Like it's a blast. We always have a blast doing it.
Absolutely.
Like as much as like a 24-hour stream can be torture, it's always a blast. Except for when I played Outlast 2 last year. Outlast last year. That was a nightmare, dude.
That was
Krim keeps popping up in my chat and he's like, "So Outlast this year?" I'm like, "No, I will never play that again." And I was like, I did it with like the lights off. I did it. You know what?
Oh, you went all out, yeah.
You know what? I'll say this: if we by some miracle, if we hit $5,000 during Spectrefest, I will do a 2-hour stream of Outlast separate from Spectrefest.
Ooh,
So I'll
there it
say
is.
that right now. If we do
Throwing
it, but
it
it's
down.
got to be during like by Tiltify donations during Spectrefest.
During the stream.
During the
Yeah.
stream, if we hit 5,000. So not total donations, nothing like that. It's got to be during the stream. $5
During
grand.
the stream.
I'll play
Okay.
Outlast for a 2-hour stream.
And not just play it, like you're gonna do the immersive experience. The
Yeah, lights off. I'll
the
do the whole thing. Yeah,
The whole thing.
yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is that like the Outlast stream that you did was good, but we were talking about this too because I scrubbed through the last couple years of Spectrefest looking for clips to put into this video, and I was like, there's some good clips here, but I can't use it, right? Like there's some mature rated scenes, let's call it.
Yeah, there's those two guys with their wieners hanging out chasing you in the haunted asylum.
And I was like, okay, so we can't use any of that in the advertising. So so it ended up cutting out a chunk of the stream that we weren't able to use for the future. But I mean, that's the beauty of it too. And I think too, with our two channels, the games that we play, like we do a wide variety.
Yeah.
We're literally
all over the place.
All over the place, right? Yeah. I know, like, for myself, I try to do a retro medley of some kind. I like to stick to the Master System just because, like, that's near and dear, and that has a special place, because that was like what we would do. We would go to my grandma's place, we would play Master System or Super Nintendo. I have a couple ideas with Super Nintendo, possibly doing some Ken Griffey Jr. baseball.
Oh, that's a good idea. I haven't played that in a long time too, and I played that at your grandma's too. Strangely enough, yeah.
We haven't talked about this, but maybe we do a home run derby or something like that.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
But I mean, like, so stuff like that too. We were doing Baldur's Gate. Well, we were trying to do Baldur's Gate last year. To newer stuff, we were doing Valorant and Overwatch. Myth Force was something that I did last year that I'm also going to do again this year. Myth Force is perfect because it's a game designed as like one of those old school 80s cartoons, like Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
And so so what I've done is I've like hard locked that into the Sunday morning breakfast position. So I go and I get a big bowl of cereal.
Right.
We play the game.
You had the bathrobe on last year too.
Robe on, and I ate my big bowl of cereal, and then we played Myth Force to close the stream out. It was a lot of fun. And so it's my intention to do that again this year. And then I know I was talking with Mrs. Nerfy and some of those folks, and we are going to be doing the trick or treat donation thing again this year. I did specifically say no scorpions, and so
I can't believe you guys did that. You guys were eating scorpions and crickets.
It was scorpions. It was scorpions, worms, like larvae.
Oh,
worms,
like mealworms.
Mealworms.
Yeah.
Crickets and something else. I'm missing ants. There was ants in there as well. And so the thing is, I was talking about this exact thing with Nerfy, because he was like, I can't believe we did that last year. And I was like, right, but think about this. You're in the moment right there. You pull that out.
You're not gonna
$20.
Exactly.
You can't just be like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. At least for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I told all the other guys that were doing it, I was like, listen, like, this is my thing. I'm not going to back down. Don't feel like you have to do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it, right? And for the most part, they followed through. Nerfy was with me every step of the way, 100%. And the other two were pretty much across the board the same way. But I had said to him, like, listen, like, it didn't matter what was in that thing. I had to at least give it a try, just for the sake of, like, making sure we did well on the donation. I have cut the hot beans out of my stream because I can't do it, right? Like, it's hilarious because I was looking back at some of the clips. By the end of the night, right, because I had gone through probably, like, I don't know, 20 something of those beans in that one little period of time. I ate one of the beans. I started gagging. I thought I was gonna throw up. And it's not because, like, it's so hot that it
starts affecting your stomach too.
Well, there's that, and it's a mental thing, right? Like, my brain is like, this is hot, and you keep sticking it in here. This isn't good. You got to stop. And so one of the last ones that I did, I put it in, I chewed it, and I was like, and I, like, gagged, like, straight up, like, almost puked, and I was like, okay, we got to be done with that. And then I switched. I tried to do the Bean Boozled, like the standard, the gross Bean Boozled. Those are worse. Yeah, those are way worse. So I can't do that. So the trick or treat thing kind of landed with me a little bit better, because at least that way it's a surprise. I can't get it in my head. I pull that thing open, whatever it is, I eat it, and we move on with our lives. A lot of it was gross. Don't get me wrong. Like, a lot of it really affected me. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking too, for this year. I know you've got a pretty decent schedule of games.
Yeah. So, what were you thinking? This is like completely putting you on the spot, by the way. What are you thinking for like the $20, like when somebody donates like $20 or $50? Like what?
Yep.
What are you thinking of doing, or do you have that planned out yet? Because I think I'm gonna stick with. I think was it $20. I was doing a hot bean every $20 or something like that.
You were doing hot beans for $20, and I think you were just doing chips for points.
Right.
Yeah, and so I was looking at some of the stuff. I haven't completely committed to where. I can't really do spicy stuff right now, just because of some
you've got
stomach
stuff going on too. I forgot about that.
But I've got a couple ideas. I still might just grab some chips or something like that, just to kind of do something. But yeah, I'm still kind of trying to figure that component out.
Yeah, if you guys have any ideas,
I'm looking at the black licorice. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to go down that road.
The thing is, it's gross, but black licorice is good for your stomach. So that might be the route to go.
Yeah, and I really hate licorice.
Same.
I don't like it. But I'm thinking that might be where I go with it. But yeah, still up in the air, so.
Because when I had that stomach ulcer, I turned all the hot beans off on my Twitch channel, and I did the black licorice, and it didn't bother it at all.
You were good to go.
Nice. But as far as game list that I've got kind of figured out, so I wanted to start off with a bunch of like kind of like more obscure NES games kind of to start with. So I got Rockin' Cats, which is a super rare NES game. Fantastic game. It's kind of like, if I'm gonna hurt some butts here, but it's kind of like Bionic Commando if it was fun. So I'll be opening with Rockin' Cats, a game I grew up playing and absolutely love, and I just wanted to show you guys that game for so long, and I was waiting for like the right opportunity, and I feel like this is it. So we'll start with Rockin' Cats. And then Darkwing Duck on the NES, which is another incredible game.
That's a good one.
It's basically Mega Man. Every year I do a Mega Man game in my first block, and I was like, maybe we should change it up instead of doing Mega Man. And then I basically chose Mega Man. But Darkwing Duck is a heck of a good game, so we'll be doing that. And then
is that one Capcom as well?
Yeah, it's like the Mega Man team. But, like it's straight up Mega Man, except you can duck and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was Capcom or if it's Konami, because Konami did Bucky O'Hare, and Bucky O'Hare was Mega Man-ish too.
Yeah, it's definitely Konami's Mega Man. I think Bucky's a fantastic game.
Bucky's great.
And then after that, to round off my block, I got all 3 of the Burger King games on Xbox. So I'm gonna open with Sneak King, and then there's Big Bumpin', and then there's Pocket Bike Racers. So we'll play those. And then we'll do the same kind of as last year. I figured we'll do TMNT Shredder's Revenge on PS4 because we had a blast with that last year.
I gotta fire that up again.
And then for your block, I think you've got Master System Medley for probably the rest of it, or whatever you figure out for the rest. And then I'm wanting to do Streets of Rage 4, because I think it was like a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago now, me and you on I think it was your Twitch channel, we played through Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3. And then, and we still haven't played 4. I've played through 4, but I'm going to be starting over because I had it on the Switch, but the online's kind of garbage on the Switch. So I'm going to be grabbing it on the PS4. And we'll do Streets of Rage 4, which is honestly my favorite beat 'em up of all time. Shredder's Revenge is really good and fun, but Streets of Rage 4 is even better in my opinion.
Yeah. We gotta, speaking of fun beat 'em up, we gotta do Double Dragon Neon again sometime. That was
was a good one too. I can't remember if that has online or if that was just couch co-op though.
It does have online, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, that was a fun one. Streets of Rage 4 is going to be good. And that's a good one. Beat 'em up game is a perfect game for the middle of the night handoff.
Yeah, it is.
So
because it's fun and it's not very torturous. It does get tough, but it's a great game. And then I've got Ninja Bread Man on the Wii. So I always like to do. I think last year I did like horror games for my overnight block. And I mixed with bad games, but we went full bore into bad games this year. So I got Ninja Bread Man on the Wii. I've got Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout on the NES.
Oof.
I've got Beast Wars on the PS1, which is bad, but I do enjoy. It's pretty fun. And then Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and then we're gonna round things off, do the old relay trade-off with Far Cry 5, or I've got some donation goal games here. So some of the donation goal games for Block 3, which is that 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. block, if we can hit, let's see what we got here. If we can hit $2,000 before or during Block 3, I'll be playing Aquaman Battle for Atlantis on the GameCube, which is created by the same team that made the fantastic Superman 64. So, if you want to see that, we got to hit 2,000.
How is that team still making games after Superman 64? I don't get it.
I don't know. And they had to have had like a contract or something with DC
like
or something.
I'm thinking, like, are they a joke game development company now?
I'd like to look up, what they do now, like what else they did besides those two games. So I'm kind of looking forward, but kind of dreading playing that. So if we hit 2,000 during or before, I'll be playing that during Block 3 there. If I hit 1,000, of course, like every year, I'll suit up as Mega Man. Every $20 donation, I'll have a hot bean or a spicy jalapeno Pringle or a spicy hot ones Pringles chip. And if we hit let's see, every $100 donation, I'll eat one of those disgusting black licorice candies.
The grossest candy in the world.
And let's see, and then the second biggest goal, and so as long as we reach 3,000 before the end of Block 3, you guys are gonna have to YouTube this game because it looks incredible, looks incredibly bad, but incredible at the same time. It is, what is it called? Ace of Seafood. So it looks like a mech fighting game, like you know those Gundam Versus games. It looks like that, but you're like lobsters and like salmon and shit. It looks like a blast, and I think if we can hit 3,000 before the end of Block 3, we'll be playing that instead of Far Cry 5. And then the final game donation goal is Dragon Ball Z Sagas on the PS2 for $3,500. Absolute trash game. I hate that game so much, which is why it's sitting at $3,500.
It's like the worst one. You're like, please don't.
Yeah, but we have to hit those before or during that third block, before the trade-off kind of thing. Yeah. And then the final donation goal I've got is if we reach $5,000 during the stream at any time. I doubled up now because I said that Outlast thing, but I'll be doing a separate stream of Outlast for 2 hours, and then I've got Little Nitro, the world's hottest gummy bear. Yep. So I will be eating that bad boy. And
I'll find something non-hot but comparable.
Disgusting. Exactly.
Maybe we'll do the Bean Boozled gauntlet challenge.
Just like a handful of the gross ones.
Well, actually, I was thinking it's like, so I had this idea and I hate it. So let's start there. But basically, to get a Bean Boozled kit and literally take one of every one of the colors and have to go one after another, no stopping.
Oh my god.
1 bite, 2 bite, 3 bite, 4 bite.
Oh.
Yeah. I know. I know. So if we hit the 5,000, that's what I will do.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's how we'll balance, because I can't do the Little Nitro. I have a Little Nitro. I can't do it. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'll find something. It'll be equal. I'm thinking that Gauntlet is equal because
that'd be awful.
They're so bad. Maybe the Gauntlet finishes with a big chunk of black licorice. Or something.
Yeah, just a handful of black licorice candy. That would be horrible.
Terrible,
dude.
Just terrible. Yeah, no. I know.
The best thing about those damn like Bean Boozled, like the gross ones, is I brought them down to like my family for Christmas the one year, and we were playing it, and my stepdad. It was either hot chocolate or dog food, and and he spun and it was like the brown one, right? So he ate it and he's like, He's like, I don't know what this one is. It's good, but it's not. It's not hot chocolate. And that's the day I found out my stepdad likes dog food.
It kind of smacks of meat a little bit. I don't know.
Kind of beefy,
Chocolate
pretty good.
tastes kind of like meat, but not bad.
He's like, it's pretty good. Doesn't taste beefy. And I was like, and we're like, oh, I think you got the dog food. And he's like, no, this is pretty good. And we're like, okay. So yeah, I found out my stepdad liked dog food.
I've had that bean. It is not good.
It's not good?
It does taste like beef. It has like a meat taste. It's disgusting.
That's funny.
Like it's not half as disgusting as the
some of the
one,
or rotten
right?
the
Like
rotten milk. I had that
oh,
one. That one was horrible.
There's a dirty dishwater one.
Oh, I've never had that one.
Oh, man, like I know I literally just said the gauntlet, but I'm just thinking about them and I know how bad that is. So, but I gotta commit. I'll commit. That's what I'll do.
You said it on the air.
I said it. I was like I said. I was looking at, because I always look at your list and my list. The thing when we plan Spectrefest is I can't plan games very much because for me I kind of just play whatever I'm feeling in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
With a small exception of like this hour I'll do these things, and it's always a big wide open area kind of thing.
Yeah.
I had at one point an idea to be like, I'm gonna do this entire block is gonna be this one game. I'm gonna play Undertale, and I'm like, no. That's not gonna work, because the thing is that I can't burn myself out, right? Like I have to be able to get through the whole thing. The other thing is that I do have confirmation from Bubs and Boz. They will be coming back to join me in the middle of the night like they usually do. The only thing is I told them, like, I don't really know. I haven't played Valorant in a year. And so I'll play it, but just so you know, it might not be that much fun. So, and I also said I don't support Overwatch anymore, considering what they've done to their game. I don't want to play
just the
that
predatoriness of
it's just the we've talked about it before, but they basically turned the entire game into a giant cash grab, and I think that's awful, and I don't want to support that. So we'll find something. I got to find a game for us to play, but I'll find us something to do, and it'll be a lot of fun. So
absolutely. So let's swing into the other topic, back to the old growing up with series. So let's start with, so we were going to do PlayStation, but we figured because the Spectrefest talk was going to take up a good chunk of the podcast, we should do some of the consoles that we don't have as much history with. PlayStation did, I believe, come out before the N64 and Saturn, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, the N64 dropped in 96, if I remember correctly.
Oh, and PlayStation was like 95 or 4?
No, it was like 94. Yeah, 93, 94. It was early.
Yeah, it was way earlier than you would think.
And I got to tell you, I think we've got one entire session on the PS. I could talk about a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next episode is going to be
For the N64, do you want to start on the N64?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's start on the N64. So the N64 I got way late. Like, we're talking like 2000s.
They're going to say 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Well, it's funny. Like, so my parents had given us one for Christmas.
Okay.
And the one they gave us...
And this was like long after you had a PS1 already,
long
too.
After we had a PS1. So we had a PS1, which is my older brother had a PS1 that he graciously allowed us to use.
Right.
The N64 belonged to me and my younger brother. And it came with a copy of Diddy Kong Racing, which was an absolutely fantastic game.
That's a good game.
And the system was a lot of fun. I hate the controller.
It's horrible.
Like, I absolutely hate
Trident?
the N64 controller. I think they could have done so much better with that, and I get it. Like, some people love that controller, and hey, all the best to you.
All those three-armed folks, like, they gotta feel like Nintendo finally, did something for the three-armed people.
I don't like the controller's okay to hold like this. The joystick is a nightmare.
The joystick's garbage no matter what, hey?
But not only is the joystick a nightmare, it wears out over time. and so that thing becomes loosey goosey.
Yeah, it gets that like that limp dick fucking.
Yeah,
yeah.
If you get a used one, chances are that joystick is ruined.
Yeah.
And then you've got to get a new one. Well, it's not as easy as just unplugging the joystick and plugging a new joystick in. You got to freaking open that controller up, take the whole thing apart. It's not resoldering and stuff like that, but it's a royal pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And so I have an N64 that I bought used years ago. And I actually have now amassed a pretty decent collection of 64 games. And something that I've learned is that I really don't like the N64.
Yeah, same. Same.
There's so few games on there that I actually like. And not to say that they're bad games; they're just not games for me.
Mm-hmm. That's the case with a lot of them for me as well. Yeah,
absolutely. I know you'll agree with me here that 3D platforming is not my forte.
Yeah,
like
same.
I'm just not a 3D platformer. That's not my thing. I mean, your classics, your Mario classics, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis.
Mario Golf and Tennis were good. Yeah, those were really
fine.
Good.
Well, I mean, but how do you screw that up?
Yeah,
right?
I guess.
Like, how do you?
But they did a really good job. Like, because they did a Mario Golf. I think it was just called NES Golf or something on the NES, and it was like a golf game. But Mario Golf on the N64 was actually like a pretty damn fun game.
It was good
for people that don't even like. I don't like golf. I'll never golf again in my life, probably.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game to just sit down and play with friends for sure.
It's arcadey golf.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
It's Hot Shots.
Yeah.
Right? For PlayStation, it's Hot Shots, right? The Mario Golf series, the Mario Tennis series, the Mario Kart series. I don't think there's a bad game in that bunch.
That's true.
Right? I think they're all pretty consistently good, with their own little quirks of whatever it is. But truthfully, at the end of the day, you know what you're getting yourself into.
Absolutely.
Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, the first one. That was good too.
64. Great game because it's one of a kind. Like this, there really wasn't anything else like it out there.
No,
there
not
was
at the time.
Other games that were similar, right?
Yeah.
But honestly,
even then, they didn't come out. Like Power Stone is the only one I can really think of, and then there was like Digimon Rumble, I think, on PS1. But those didn't come out till like way after Smash Brothers.
100%. Yeah, they came out as inspired by, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. So that was another one that was great. Obviously, you've got GoldenEye Perfect Dark as kind of some of the first FPSs on a console. I appreciate what they did for the genre, but they're not fun games to play.
Not today. Back then they were like.
Back then was good
because you couldn't really do first person shooters especially 3D ones. I shouldn't say first person shooters because you could do like I remember Wolf 3D was on the SNES, Doom was on the SNES, to varying degrees of quality, obviously, but GoldenEye was like a dedicated, made just for the N64 split screen, and was really good at the time, but has aged like hot garbage.
Absolutely, like a game like Halo took its inspiration from GoldenEye, right?
Yeah, and then made the controls incredible,
way better.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like, again, games not a game that I would go back and play again in its own state. I know they've remastered, remade it, and now it's fine to play because you remaster.
Yeah.
But I mean, to take the N64 cartridge, stick it into your game system, and play it, it's a rough ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate what it did for the genre, but honestly, outside of those titles, there's really not a whole lot else that's bringing me to the system, you know?
Yeah, except for the best N64 game that exists and you own and have never played, not Quest 64, oh my god, Ogre Battle 64.
Yeah, I own a copy of Ogre Battle 64, and I was like, I got this game, Ogre Battle, probably sucks. Duke's like, you own a copy of Ogre Battle? Like, yeah, why?
It's like the best N64 game of all time. It's the same. Yeah. So the same guys that did obviously Tactics Ogre and Ogre Battle. They did Final Fantasy Tactics. That's the same dev team, and they did. They had a big hand in Final Fantasy 12. So when you get to Final Fantasy 12, that's kind of the same group there. There's a new game that's coming out by Atlas, which I believe is who did Ogre Battle 64, and it's made, I think, by the Tactics Ogre team, and it's called, what the hell is it called? It's got a stupid name. It's like Unicorn something, but it's literally a spiritual successor to Ogre Battle 64. You have to check out the trailer. It's just recently, I think it was like part of Tokyo Game Show like this past week or whatever, they announced it, and it looks great.
I have to check out Ogre Battle 64 sometime.
Yeah. You might not like it though, because you're not a big tactical RPG guy. Like I'm not either, but I really liked Ogre Battle 64.
Yeah. I think I would like tactical RPGs with someone guiding me, with a little bit of help, right?
Yeah,
the thing is, for me, I get overwhelmed really easily.
Well, tactical RPGs are hard and very unforgiving. That's 100%. That's the issue. And every battle is like 20 minutes. Like you could like if you're streaming it, like your whole stream will be like 2 or 3 battles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's typically why I walk away from them, because it's for me, I have a real problem figuring out what to do, and then I start losing. I'm like, screw it, I shut it off. Right?
Yeah, I'm the same way with most of them.
I'm trying to think on the 64 if there was no real JRPGs on the 64.
Yeah, Quest 64. I have for my stream I have 2 follower goals. I have, if I can hit 850 followers by the end of the year, I will play Earthbound on the Super Nintendo for the first time ever.
Okay, that's a good one.
And if by some miracle I hit 1,000 followers by the end of the year, I will purchase and play Quest 64. And that game is garbage, and it is the only JRPG other than Ogre Battle 64. Yeah,
no kidding.
It's on there, and it's turn-based and everything, but it is absolute shit. It is terrible.
Something that's always, because the reason why I bring that up is something that's always kind of made me wonder a little bit. If you wanted to play a JRPG before the N64 era, you would have bought a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo console.
Played them on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then after the Super Nintendo, all the JRPGs shifted to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
What, like, was that for the cutscenes?
Yeah. So I know Squaresoft came out saying that it was solely because they could tell a better story on a disc,
right?
Due to cutscenes, due to like the way they did their what do they call it? I can't remember what they call it, with like the background, the way they did their backgrounds and stuff, and you could just tell a better story. The music quality, like, exceptionally better, stuff like that.
Super quality stuff.
And that's why. And I think most companies jumped ship, but Atlas stuck around, and I'm glad they did with Ogre Battle 64, because otherwise you'd have nothing on the N64 really.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like I'm thinking like the Mario Party games, I guess, were all on the 64 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which were good.
Was it the first 3 or the first 4? I want to say 3. Was it 4 they crammed on there? Yeah. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I definitely I own 2 and 3.
I think I do too. 2. Which one has the cowboy? He's got the cowboy hat. Is that 2? That's the one I played the most. My wife. So I didn't. I guess. I'll swing into how I first kind of played the N64. So I used to. It's usually like my mom's like friends' kids had N64s. One of them had Smash Brothers, so that was the first time I played Smash Brothers. Was over at their place. I would always play as either. Did they even have Young Link at the time? I don't think they did on it.
It might not have been. No.
If they didn't, I would have played as like.
64 was pretty basic. It was just.
There was like Pikachu,
Link,
Donkey Kong, Link, Mario.
Yeah.
I played as Pikachu a lot, and I played as, I think, Link a little bit. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And then
Samus has been my bro gal since day one.
Oh, really? Which is funny because neither of us like the Metroid games.
Mm-hmm.
But you just like the way she plays, basically.
I like the way she plays in Smash Bros. And I'm really bad at Smash Bros. So don't listen
same.
To me.
That's the thing. That's the thing. People will be like, talk about Smash Bros. And it's like, dude, I play like for fun with my friends, and
that's right.
Not like because I'm bad.
I've seen people. So it as we're talking about 64, like our buddy Chad is the guy who I think about. Right, because he had those systems. The dude had Nintendo systems.
Yeah, he did. He had the GameCube. That's where I played 90% of my GameCube, was at his place in Finney's. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? And so I remember playing Smash Bros. At his place. And I've seen him play Smash Bros. He's good at Smash Bros.
Yeah. Him and like
so,
his cousins, I remember, would like come
yeah.
over sometimes, and it's like there's no point in me even playing like with these guys.
So I would just sit back and watch, because
Yeah.
if I picked up that controller and I was playing, like it would be like putting a little league baseball player up against an MLB player.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like,
really that big of a difference.
It's honestly, it is night and day, and I never stood a chance. To the point where it's like they would put like the count 3, like you have 3 lives.
Yeah.
I would be dead, done. Before they even lost one life.
I'm just like trying to get Thundershock to work.
Exactly.
To hit somebody with it. That's all I'm trying to do.
In the corner and let them battle it out and hope they don't find you. No.
Yeah. Run away from them a lot. Yeah, that was most of my experience playing the original Smash Bros was with like little kids, like younger than me. So I was like, I'm pretty good at Smash Bros. Actually. I did play. Maybe I'm misremembering this, but I remember playing a Dr. Mario game on the N64 at their place as well.
There might have been. There's Dr. Mario flavors for almost all the systems. I
think so. The Wii was my wife was like ranked like 200th in the world in that Wii one. That
she
online
loves puzzle games.
Yeah,
she's good at puzzle games.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I'd like to see you against her at Puyo Pop.
She'll crush me. She'll crush me 100%.
I don't know, man. You're pretty greasy at Puyo Pop. But with the N64, so I played there. I played at another like one of my parents' kids' place. They had the Pokemon Stadium games, which were really good. Those were fun. Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 were
Stadium 1 and 2 and Snap.
Oh yeah, Snap! That's probably my favorite N64 game. Really I didn't even I forgot about that.
I totally forgot about
that. That is a good game.
Yeah.
You're just and it's the dumbest concept. Like, you're just taking pictures of Pokemon, but it's so addicting. It's so fun. It's basically really like an on-rails arcade shooter, but with like a joystick, and they do such a good job with it. Yeah.
And it's
always, I think the reason that game's so good is because as you beat each level, you're always, the little gameplay mechanics are always evolving as you keep playing.
Yeah, you can play the same stage multiple times with different outcomes.
Yeah, and then different routes, because you pissed off Charizard, and now he like lit a fire somewhere, and you can go down a different path, like stuff like that. Yeah. It's such a good game.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Snap. That was a very good game. That one is a definite 64 S tier game.
And I remember the Pokemon Stadium, because you could get that adapter and plug your party in and see. Yeah, it came with it. Yeah. And then you could see your Pokemon in like 3D, which was like unheard of back then, right?
That was really cool. Yeah,
and it was awesome.
Stadium was really cool, and so they put Stadium on the Switch Online, hey?
But like the original
Pokemon. Yeah, but you can't import your Pokemon.
Oh, so it's like there's no point.
It's kind of dumb.
Yeah,
which didn't make any sense. There was a lot of speculation at the time that they were like, oh, they're gonna release Pokemon
they should.
Blue, Red, Yellow
and
then you'll be able to bring your Pokemon into Stadium.
That's a huge missed opportunity.
And they were like, they're gonna charge the way that they do, like the extra, the bonus online.
Yeah, they would, because the Game Boy, I think the Game Boy Color games are part of the deluxe bundle or whatever. Yeah. So that would have been smart.
But Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo going to Nintendo. But the Stadium games were also good, though, even if you didn't have your Pokemon and stuff, because the mini games, especially in Stadium 2, the mini games were so much fun in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And you could battle in this. I don't know if you could do it in the first one, but the second one you could battle through all the gym leaders. You could like work your way through kind of the story, even if you didn't have. You could just pick your Pokemon and do that. I remember that was fun too.
Yeah. There's a lot, I know we were talking about 3D platformers, but like honorable mentions, I guess there, Mario 64.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda games, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Donkey Kong 64. Come on.
Banjo. There was Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Conker's Bad Fur Day is a blast. I have that one.
It's a fun game.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard as hell, but it's fun. Yeah.
Like a lot of those games, the reason why I don't like, I'm not like, oh my, is because I don't like those games.
Same, yeah, same.
I'm just. It's not that I don't like them because the game's bad. It's I don't like them because I'm not good at them. I can't walk a straight line with a 3D character down a pathway without that character falling off the path.
Yeah, or right? Making jumps. Like I have like no 3D depth perception in games, so I can't make jumps. And if you're trying to play a 3D platformer, you're just screwed, basically.
And the 64 had one stick, which meant the camera angles you moved.
Oh yeah, and it just like jerked around. It'd be like, I'm over here, now over here.
45-degree turn, right?
Yeah.
So it made it very, very difficult. You got used to it, and then you flew, right?
Yeah.
Again, to talk about Chad, like I remember, dude was flying through those games with ease.
Yeah.
Right. But it was something that never clicked with me. And then now, as I go back at where I'm at right now, it's next to impossible to go back and play it that way. Yeah. Right. Like it's tough unless you played it before to go back and have never played it before. It's really tough.
The only one of like the 3D platformers I actually played all the way through was Conker's Bad Fur Day, and I think it's just because it was so funny. Like at the time,
and it's such a off the wall idea, right?
Yeah.
Like you got Conker started in freaking Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, right. He's a little
guy,
cute little squirrel with a blue bunny hug on.
Yeah. And then it turns out he's just a giant piece of shit.
He's just like an alcoholic squirrel. Yeah. It's awesome. He ends up going to like war. Like they reference so many movies and so many games. Yeah. It's such a great game. I don't know if I'd be able to even play it today though, because the 3D platformer thing and then the camera, it's hard too. Like it's a hard game.
That one's another one I think that they did a remake on though.
They did a remake and it was on the Xbox and they like censored it, which is weird because the Xbox, really? Yeah. Like so all the swears and stuff they like bleeped out and like a bunch of parts were like cut from it. It was called Conker Live and Reloaded, I believe.
It's weird when you have to censor it on the Xbox, but you don't censor it on a Nintendo console.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. I was disappointed. Okay. But I just remember, like, the multiplayer in Conker's Bad Fur Day was really fun, because there was different modes. There was, like, you had to, like, rob a bank, and one guy's are, like, cops, the other guys are the robbers kind of thing. And you could, when you're in the bathrooms, you can pee on each other, and you can, like, when you pull back on the analog, it's like you're leaning back and you're arcing your piss arc. Like, those games are so much fun. I'd love to play it multiplayer sometime. I think I could do a stream of that. There's no way I'd be able to play through the game again.
It would be tough.
I just remember the end is so before the end you're in a Saving Private Ryan reference. Like the whole mission is like saving all these squirrels are just getting gunned under the water. There's just blood everywhere. And Conker I think is the only one that survives. And then you end up you get to the king's castle or whatever, and you're like in this like vault, like this there's like security, right? And it's like it's almost like it looks like a bank security thing. And of course this came out in like 99-ish, so it's the Matrix. You're like dodging bullets, you're running up the sides of the walls with your machine guns, like and it just like comes out of nowhere, right? It's like this 3D platformer, and that part was so awesome. And then the final boss, so you get to the king. And spoilers for anyone who hasn't played it, but it's like a million-year-old, it's like a 30-year-old game now.
It's been 30 years almost.
And you get to the final boss, and you're like, okay, I'm going to beat the king, let's go. And this fucking alien rips out of its chest, and you're in space. And remember that one Alien movie when she's in like that mech suit and fighting? Yeah. That's the final boss. Ridley. You're fighting the alien in a mech suit, the xenomorph. And you have to beat it up and then throw it out the airlock. And that's how you beat the game. It's like the game is just it's just crazy. It's such a good game. Good.
That's hilarious.
But the other place I played N64 games. I think it was like a girlfriend at the time. Her younger brother had Ocarina of Time, and that's where I played that for the first time, which was very groundbreaking. I'm not a huge like Zelda guy, and I don't really like the 3D Zelda games, but that was incredibly groundbreaking at the time.
Yep. Great for the genre, but it's the N64 3D platforming.
3D platforming without a jump button, might I add.
It's the roll forward.
Yeah. And then
you look at what they did with Tears of the Kingdom and freaking what's the other one? Like, why is my brain not working?
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, right? Like, if you fast forward in time, you're still playing a very similar kind of game, just newer version of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously,
yeah, they did a good job.
I know
there.
people that will still say Ocarina of Time is their favorite game
of all time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think until Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time was the last big evolution of the Zelda series.
It was one of the biggest shifts in Zelda, I think.
Absolutely.
There's different,
because I mean, you went from
pieces.
A Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time. Like, that's a huge change.
That's a big jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wind Waker would have been the next change, but it was an
played,
artistic change.
Yeah, it was more of an artistic,
right?
but gameplay wise, it was still basically the same.
Exactly. Yeah. And it wasn't until like even Twilight Princess was pretty close. It wasn't until Breath of the Wild really
where they changed it up again
a lot.
Yeah. I do remember really liking Majora's Mask back in the day. I think it was because it
was the better of the two.
Oh yeah, hands down. Because I think it was because it took like that whole Mario and Sonic thing where you could get different powers and like use those. So it wasn't just like you weren't always just playing as basic bitch Link. You could. Turn into I love turning into like the Zora and like swimming and stuff like that. Like the first one of the few games where like the underwater levels were cool as shit. And the Goron where you could basically turn into like Sonic the Hedgehog and like spin dash. And it was weird because like Nintendo did a better Sonic than like 3D Sonic than Sega did kind of with the Goron power. But my problem now is going back to that game. I can't enjoy it today because it's always that clock is always ticking and you're always like resetting back to the beginning, and I can't do it, man. It's too stressful, and it's like
it's tough.
If you don't have a certain amount of time to accomplish what you need to do and you don't know what you need to do, it's just a frustrating game for me to play today. But I absolutely loved it back in the day. I think I 100%ed that game. Like, I had that Fierce Deity Link and everything. Where else did I play an N64? Oh, the next time I really played an N64 was when I started dating my wife, because she has an N64 and they owned that rental company in our hometown, right? So we would rent like the Rampage World Tour game and stuff on there.
Those were fun too.
We would rent Hexen and Quake and stuff like that, and then when I started dating her and we moved in together, I own all the games basically that we would rent, right? Because they owned the rental company there. But that's where I played Mario Party 2, and Mario Party 2 almost put an end to our relationship, as it was fairly early on, because Mario Party 2 is like Monopoly. That shit angers...
The game angers up the blood.
Absolutely. Like, destroys relationships, right? And I just remember we were playing, it was me and her and like two of her friends, and we were playing Mario Party 2. She still... like lived with her mom because we were like 18. I think I was 18. She was like 16 or 17. And we were playing Mario Party 2 and I was in the lead. I had like 8 stars or 6 stars or something. And she was in last place. And she stole all my stars like in the last round and won. And I ended up in last place. And I did like... You do all that work, right? And you just get fucked over. I was so mad, dude. And then we streamed. It was like one of my first streams was it was me, Finny, Bubs, and my wife. I remember that. And we were playing Mario Party 2. And she was doing the same dirty ass shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
And Bubs, your younger brother Bubs, was lying to Finny for all the mini games. So there's that one where you have to like grab all the gold mushrooms or whatever with the crane arm. And Bubs is like,
avoid the poison ones.
Yeah, Finny's like, you gotta get the purple ones. Or Bubs is like, you gotta get the purple ones. And we're playing. I'm like, Finny, why are you getting the purple ones? And Finny's like, Bubs said I had to get the purple ones. And I'm laughing. And I'm like, no, you gotta get the gold ones, dude. He got so mad. Like, if you look back, I think I have like the YouTube clip of, or the stream clip up on YouTube, like way back. Right. But it was I think the N64 was the best for like multiplayer party games.
Absolutely. But the system having four controller ports right out of the gate.
Yeah.
That was a good play on their part.
Absolutely.
Because in order to do 4 players on the PS1, you needed the multi-tap, and not many games.
Yeah, the wrestling games, that's about all I ever remember using it for. Fun. Yeah, they were fun. They were super fun.
Wrestling games. What was the one for No Mercy?
Oh yeah, there was like the WCW ones were so good, and then there was
a
like
lot of really good
WWF
wrestling games.
Attitude or something.
Attitude was better on the PS1 than it was on the 64.
I think
Same with
so.
Warzone.
Right, but No Mercy is like the best,
and
like
really
highly regarded
good.
as the best wrestling game of all time to this day.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And then
another.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
The other one I was gonna mention was Castlevania 64, which is just a terrible Castlevania game and a pretty bad game altogether. Especially like if you're like, I remember a couple years ago I streamed all the Castlevania games.
Yep.
And that one, and what was the one with the witch? I can't remember. Order of Ecclesia, I think, were the only two that I literally had to rage quit. Like, I couldn't do it. They were just so bad. But the N64 one, I gave such a good try, and then the game locked up.
Really hard.
And it was like, fuck this shit.
You got past 2 or 3 lockups, and it was that last one. You're like, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's a brutal game and just terrible.
Something I don't understand is Castlevania on the Nintendo, on the Super Nintendo, fantastic games.
Yeah.
All they had to do was follow suit, and they decided to do this weird, awful thing that ended up being Castlevania 3D or 64. And then you look over on the other side, and you've got
Symphony of the Night.
Like there's
which
no
is still
contest.
Regarded as like the best by many, like most fans, I would say.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going to be doing next. I still have never played.
No, you got to do 4. You got to do 4 first.
Right, Super Castlevania 4.
Yeah,
I'll fire that one.
And try Bloodlines. Bloodlines is tough, but it's really good.
Is something that I do want to try as well. I was actually going to do it as part of my Genesis run when I was doing that. But another game for the 64 that we forgot. I know we're going long on the 64, so we might have to tuck Saturn in on another one. But the another one for the 64 was Pod Racer. Star Wars
hated that game, man. People say they like it, and I swear they're lying.
It's an awful game, but it again, it was. I hate to say revolutionary, right? But there was nothing else like it.
I guess
right?
so.
It was kind of super one of a kind.
And like the episode 1 had just come out, and people despite what people will have you believe,
there was a lot of hype.
Everyone loved episode 1 when it first came out.
No.
Dude, it was popular. Like
I didn't like it. But
you didn't? I loved it, man. When it first came out, it wasn't until episode 2 where I was like, "Wow, I do not like this movie." But
I liked the actiony parts of episode 1, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was really, really slow.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Pod Racer comes out, and I was playing it with a different group of guys. It wasn't Chad. It was somebody else in town, like Tim and Tyler and them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they're dynamite at this game, and I sucked,
it's hard as fuck,
it's
dude.
It's hard because you take damage, and then your engine blows up,
and you start spinning, and
and so that was another one. And then the only other game I think that we haven't listed that is like one of those top games is Paper Mario.
Yeah, I've never played that, but I heard it's really good.
It's supposed to be very, very good.
Yeah.
And so that was another one that I think deserves to be on like a list of some kind. But
definitely,
truth be told, like most of these games we're talking about, I never actually played. I watched other people play, or I just know of them existing because of their popularity. And the few that I have played, I'm like, I gave Ocarina of Time an absolutely fair chance, and I actually was enjoying it, not so bad. And then I got to that freaking water temple.
I didn't even get that far. Forest
ice temple.
Oh, I got to the forest one, and I couldn't get past. I could
do the forest one, no problem. The fire one, no problem. The water one, I got through, but not easily. And then I got to the ice temple, and I got to tell you, man, it just fell apart for me there. I couldn't do it. Because it's puzzly, right?
Yeah,
it's puzzly,
I hate puzzles,
and
man.
the 3D platformer stuff, and I just couldn't do it. So
yeah, that was a rough one.
I even tried with. I own a 64 version of Ocarina of Time. I even tried with the 3DS. I bought a copy of it on the 3DS.
Okay, yeah.
and I still couldn't do it.
That's funny, dude. I feel like the N64, like we said, like with the multiplayer games, but it was really good for like racing games. Like I remember playing Wave Race 64, F-Zero X, like those were really
1080
good.
snowboarding,
1080 snowboarding. That was like, as much as I love Cool Boarders 3 and 4, I think 1080 snowboarding was probably the best snowboarding game of that era.
1080 was probably more fun, but
Ricky Winterboard.
Cool Boarders 3 is so freaking good, dude.
Yeah, they are good, but I think I gotta put 1080 above it. I can't believe we've come up with this many good N64 games, because I hate the N64.
I really don't like the system. But yeah, think about this, right? We've listed 30 games, right?
Right, yeah.
The library is deep.
Not really. They only made like 200 games for the damn console.
That is true. Well, they released it late, and then the GameCube came out 2005, 6,
something like that. Yeah.
Right. So, but I mean, like, there was a lot of sports games.
Yeah, there was. NFL Blitz was good on it, though.
Blitz was good. Well, Blitz was good on all the systems.
Yeah, it was a really good arcade port, basically.
I liked Blitz. That was a good game.
Ooh, remember, you know what else I played? I think it was my stepbrother's place. San Francisco Rush. That was another fun racing game.
Yeah, the Rush games.
Yeah.
Didn't they have the other one?
There was a future one. Yeah.
Something like that.
That was the future one. 2049.
Yeah, the California Rush or something.
Cruisin' USA. I got that as well. Yeah. It was so good for, like, it was weird because it didn't really capitalize on them enough. But the N64 would have done really well if it focused more on, like, the arcadey style games, I feel like. Because after the N64, that's what, like, the Dreamcast was big with. But I feel like the N64 was, like, the only one that could accurately do arcade games at the time. Mortal Kombat 4, that's another really good one. Like, a lot of people don't like it, but because it was the first, like, 3D Mortal Kombat, like, polygon style one. But I really liked Mortal Kombat 4, and it was fairly accurate to the arcade as well.
Yeah, I have an unfair opinion because I don't like fighting games all that much.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine playing Mortal Kombat on the freaking 64 controller. Like, I don't even know how you could do it.
It was good. It was pretty good.
I don't even know. I guess you'd use the D-pad, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's quickly swing into the Saturn, because like you said, we don't have a lot of history with the Saturn.
I don't have a lot of.
So my only, I guess, history with the Saturn is, you mentioned Tim. I remember going to his house. They had a Saturn, and I remember they had Duke Nukem 3D, and I would have been like that ripe age of like 13 to 14. Where boobies...
Adolescent boy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just remember being in their, like... Because I think him and his brother shared a bedroom or something. I remember being in their bedroom playing Duke Nukem 3D, and somebody had to be on lookout at the doorway to look down the hall to make sure their parents were coming. And we would just keep going, shake it, baby, shake it, baby. and they're like, yeah! Like, showing their tits, right, with the little tassels and stuff. And I just remember, like... I remember just, like, going over there to play that. And then there was, like, this, like, I think it was called, like, LAPD, and it was, like, an isometric game. I don't know the name exactly. Okay. And it was, like, you know the bad guy from one of the RoboCop games, like, that mech-looking dude?
Okay,
You basically played as one of those guys, and it was pretty fun. I'd like to download that and get that and play that on stream at some time, but I don't know what it's called. I think it was like LAPD something. But those were the only two games I played on the Saturn growing up. And then, of course, later, after graduating, I got a Saturn myself, and Guardian Heroes, like the best beat 'em up possibly of all time, made by the Gunstar Heroes team.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I love Sonic R, probably completely alone in that. Probably the only person on planet Earth. Yeah, that likes Sonic R. I'm trying to think of other ones. Those Clockwork Knight games, those were really good. They're really fucking hard.
Those look like a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of good Saturn games, but not a lot of them, like, as far as growing up with the Saturn.
Games.
Oh, yeah. Saturn's top tier for light gun. Like, the first House of the Dead, Virtua Cop 1 and 2. I can't believe I forgot about those. Area 51. Like, I have so many good light gun games on the Saturn. I think that's where it's the strongest, was with the light gun
That's
games,
definitely,
honestly.
yeah, that's definitely its bread and butter. I don't have a lot of history with the Saturn. I never owned a Saturn. The Saturn came out at a point in time when I owned was the Saturn out the same time as the original Xbox?
Mm, no, it would have been
The
PlayStation.
original X,
I think it
right?
came out in '94. I want to say the
Yeah,
Saturn.
and so the thing is that I obviously was a young man with no money, so I'm not buying
Yeah,
that console. And yeah, that's right. The Dreamcast would have been the Xbox.
yeah, yeah.
The thing with the Saturn is I don't think I actually even held a Saturn controller until that one time I came over to your place. We were making videos for Blurry Prawn, and you were like, "Here's this game called Bug."
Oh yeah, Bug Juice. I forgot. Oh,
And
I can't believe I made that your first Saturn
that
experience.
was it. That was my first Saturn experience
That's a
because
terrible
you
game.
had just got it though. You had literally just got the system, and you
Uh
were like, "These are the games I got." And I bought you. I think you were talking. You hadn't bought Snatcher yet.
oh, that's
Uh,
Sega CD. That's Sega
or
CD. That
Sega
one.
CD.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. But you were there was something that you were trying to get, and you hadn't got it yet, and you were going through all this stuff, playing some of the Saturn games that you had, and that was honestly it because
It's not a great game. Let's
I
fucking be
never
honest.
really like nobody I knew had a Saturn. Everybody I knew had a PlayStation or an N64, right?
Yeah,
Like
almost everybody.
um
Yeah.
almost everybody. And outside of that, I think the only other time I played Saturn was again over at your place when we were doing the light gun games.
Oh
We did our
yeah.
light gun
The
memory
light
for
gun
that
games on it
stream.
are so good
So
though.
much better. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's a lot of fun. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of games on the Saturn that I would like to play and I would like
Yeah.
to give it a try. Um, and so I had mentioned to you like, hey, because you head up to the city every now and then. There's a store there that kind of tends to have retro games, and I
Yeah.
kind of just mentioned offhand like, hey, you know what? If you see one of these things in there and it's reasonably priced, snag it for me and I'll pay you back. But honestly, I don't think we've even seen something. Considering the price of gaming now, I don't know if I
Yeah,
ever
that's
will.
all going up
Right?
now.
I don't
Panzer
know if I ever
Dragoon,
will.
those games were
Hmm.
good. Those were like almost
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
a rail shooter kind of thing. I still
Yeah.
need to play. There's a JRPG Panzer Dragoon game that I need to play. It's
Oh,
Panzer
really?
Dragoon
Okay.
Saga. I need to play that one. But yeah, that's about it on the Saturn. Like as far as like growing up, I'm trying to think if there's the Saturn controller. The smaller
I
one
was gonna
is
say I
the
really like
best
the
control. Like
controller.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my favorite controller of all time. I think, and
I think
except
that
for
really big round one though. That one's fun.
yeah. So when they released it in North America, they changed the controller for some reason to that big one. And
I
then
don't know why.
they were like, "Oh, let's release the Japanese one there too." And then it's just like
Yeah.
so much better. It's basically
Yeah.
just a well designed 6-button like Genesis
Yeah,
one.
they
That's
took the
just way
Genesis
better.
6-button Genesis controller and gave it wings so that when you're holding it, it doesn't hurt your freaking hands.
Yeah, because the 6-button Genesis was like smaller than the 3-button Genesis, which makes no
It's
fucking
tiny.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tiny.
And the buttons are like way higher quality. Like it's such a good
Yeah.
controller.
Yeah.
The best for fighting games, like bar none. There's
Absolutely.
no better
Well,
controller.
it's a fight pad.
Yeah,
It is. Like,
basically.
it is basically a fight pad. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I like the Saturn, the white Saturn instead of the black Saturn.
Ooh, those are
I
nice.
like that console. I think that one's really cool. I would like to own a Saturn, and I would like to play through the library. So at some point, eventually, a Saturn and a Dreamcast are the two systems that I actually am kicking myself for not having ever played. The Dreamcast, I've literally never played. the
Oh,
Dreamcast
next time you're
before.
over, we'll have to play Dreamcast.
Yeah,
There's a
quite
really
literally.
There's a really good Dreamcast emulator called Redream, and it is the
I
best
know, you were
emulator
telling me
I've
about
ever
that.
used. I highly recommend. Like there's games that I have for the Dreamcast, like physical copies of, and I will play them in Redream because it upscales
Mhm.
everything into like HD, and it's just
Yeah.
beautiful. Actually,
Just
we've been
makes life
playing
easier.
because Fates and I were playing Dynamite Cop, which was
Right.
hilarious and awesome. It's a beat 'em up game, and you're doing like tombstone pile drivers and like crazy shit. Your clothes rip off the more you get beat up. Like it's just a great fucking game. I recommend it
It's a
to
good time.
anyone. And then we beat Dynamite Cop. Or no, we got to the end. We tried it like 3 different times. We couldn't beat the boss. So then we were like, let's play one other game to round out the night. And we played through Power Stone. and it's just a beautiful. Or Power Stone 2 we played. So this coming weekend, which will be, I guess, last weekend for those of you listening or watching this. So tomorrow, for us real time right now, we're going to be playing Power Stone 1 on the Dreamcast, because Fates had never really played the Dreamcast.
Oh, no kidding.
And so we played that, and he was like, wow, I can't believe how many fun like multiplayer games are on here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is like the king of like arcade style fun multiplayer games.
Yep.
So, but we'll get to the Dreamcast in a couple podcasts for sure.
That's what disappoints me with Sega. I think like the Saturn and the Dreamcast were both so poorly received over here in North America.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I said, everybody I knew owned a PlayStation or an N64. I didn't know anybody who owned a Saturn. Not one person.
Just him was the only one I knew.
Well, and I didn't even, honestly, I don't, unless you would have said something, I still wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because the thing is that nobody owned a Saturn.
No.
Right? And even, honestly, I think going back, like, into the stores, like, we walked into Walmart, I remember seeing the Saturn console and games there, but it was like a fraction of the cabinet that the other systems were.
And it was super expensive. And I remember because what happened, the reason the Saturn and like Sega overall failed was because they started like self-sabotaging. So like Sega of America released the 32X and and like Sega CD, and at like months before the Saturn came out, basically, and they announced the Saturn the day the Saturn came out. So it was like, that's basically what killed the Saturn right there. Yeah. And I had already had a 32X, so I was like, I'm not going to buy a Saturn. Like, why would I buy a Saturn?
Why would you buy another system? I literally just got this one.
Yeah. So...
yeah, they're just trying to milk every penny that they could. And so they made a bunch of bad business decisions. And it's too bad, because I think to what the console race would look at, like, think now where we're at with the Xbox One X, XSF, XXX, FSXX, and the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Where the Sega system would fit in. Can you imagine if Sega was like, hey, we're releasing a new system? How crazy would everything... that system would sell.
I think so. It would sell really well. Especially if they put all their, like... basically just all they would have to do is release a lot of like arcade games that were never released on like home consoles. Like a lot of the like re-release all the Dreamcast games, release like that, what was it called, like Thunderblade, release a proper console version of Outrunners, like all that 80s to like early 2000s era of arcade games.
Absolutely.
Release those for like $30 a pop, because video games are super expensive right now.
So expensive.
You could release a new Sega console and have all these games. They wouldn't even have to, they would barely have to make any new games. They could release all these games for $30 per game, and I would buy probably all of them, honestly.
Here you go, Sega. Business idea. Make a new console, digital only, low-cost games of your back catalog.
Fuck, even do a subscription service. Do it like $30 a year or something, and you get access to all these classic Sega arcade games.
Give me your Sega back catalog for that. You got me, bud.
Absolutely. The thing is, though, they're doing so successful with like the Yakuza series. Like they own Atlas now, so they do like the Persona games. They do Sonic Frontiers. I still haven't played it yet, but it was apparently really good. Sonic Mania was really good. Like, they're doing so well making games for other consoles now that they don't want that upfront console production cost and stuff. So
exactly,
I can understand that as well. But
it makes sense.
But yeah, that was our history of the N64 and the Saturn. Tell us in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, tell us in the comments your history growing up with the N64 and Saturn. And tell us which one you had. Did you have the Saturn? Did you have the N64? Did you have the PlayStation? The next episode will obviously us be talking about the PlayStation. We'll be able to talk about that for probably quite a while, because...
make sure you bring water.
Yeah, man, that was like, it still might be one of my favorite consoles of all time, the PS1.
Easily, hands down.
So,
and even some like obscure titles too.
Yeah, it's all gold, man. The PS1 was so good, which is crazy because it was Sony's first attempt. They jumped in and won it. Like, how? Like, who saw that coming? Yeah,
they nailed it.
And what you were saying about the whole, if Sega was still in the race, I honestly feel like the GameCube and the Xbox would not have fared as well as they did against the PS2.
100% agree.
If Sega didn't support them with their games.
I think if they would have done well with the Dreamcast, it would have been a different landscape.
Yeah,
Nintendo
would have been
Xbox XXFXXF.
Yeah,
SBAB.
Well, and basically the Xbox is like they used basically the Dreamcast controller. All they did was add another thumbstick. I think they used a lot of like Dreamcast hardware with the original Xbox as well. Like,
yeah, it sure seems that way.
Yeah,
makes you wonder if they were like they kind of scavenged and bought.
Sega definitely helped them with it.
They literally did.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's why like you've got like the Jet Set Radio games. You got Sega GT Racer on there. You've got a lot of
Radio was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good one. Especially the Xbox. I like the Xbox one way better than the Dreamcast one, honestly.
Yeah.
And then that's when they started shooting like Sonic Adventure over to the GameCube and like Sonic Adventure 2.
Sonic 06?
Sonic 06 on the PS3. That was, I honestly, now like looking back, like talking about how Sega supported Nintendo and Xbox so much in those early years, it almost makes you wonder if Sonic 03 was their way to like sabotage PlayStation because they were backing Nintendo and Xbox so much.
They're like, here you go, you can have this one.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching and listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember, you can like, subscribe, turn notifications to all to check out all the videos and all the podcasts. But you can also, if you'd rather listen to it in your car without having the YouTube download internet thing going on, oh my god.
Yeah. If you can't have the video...
Just
then come listen to the audio.
Yeah, listen to it on Spotify. It's obviously quicker to stream something through Spotify, less data intensive, so you can listen to it that way. If you're listening to this on Spotify and you want to see the video version, check it out on YouTube, youtube.com/Dookie03. Signing off, I am Dookie03. You can find me live on Twitch every Thursday, Tuesday, and Sunday night. And Saturday mornings, we've been playing Dragon Quest X. So at twitch.tv/Dookie03.
Yeah, and you can find me online at twitch.tv/DGOnline on the opposite days. On
Pretty
Mondays,
much, yep.
Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. We spread the love so that you have something to watch every day of the week.
Yep, every single night. All right, guys, you have a good one, and thank you so much for watching and or listening.
See ya!